T. Clark here, and this video is going to go over the FRQ for Unit 3. So on Unit 3, the FRQ problem says we can assume period has been properly declared and initialized. So they give us period. Actually, this should be a code font. Okay, so we have an int representing a period, so it's a number. So a number could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's basically it. I should probably put it in here. And has the value 1 to 6 inclusive. So I'll change that for the future ones, but there we go. So it can period will be either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, an int. So then we have a class or a method called class period that will return the string with the correct class associated with the parameter period. So if I call class period with a 1, it'll return just math. If I call class period 2, it'll return English, and so on and so forth. So it's like simulating your schedule, I guess. So they give us the method header. So that's the first thing you want to write. When you're doing FRQ, you want to basically just copy the public static string class period int period. So you want to, so I have a replit right here. I'll do my code in. I won't be able to run because it's just replit, doesn't have any main. So again, it's public static static. It said I had to return a string. Oh, space string. Oh my goodness. String class period. Okay, then inside int period. So this should exactly be what you type right out first on paper. So you want to write that first method header first things first. Okay, then I say, okay, if it's 1, I return math. So I'm going to make a bunch of if statements. So if what, if period, and again, I'm given the period in the parameter list, in the parentheses. So the parameter period I want to be using. If I don't use period in this code, I'm doing something wrong. So if it's a 1, what do? Enter bracket enter, return the string math. That's basically it. And you could do else if, you could do separate ifs, because remember, returns stop the code. So if you return something, the code stops. So if it was a 1, it would do this, it would execute this command, which says return math, and then it would stop, because return just stops. It goes back to wherever the class period was called from. So you could do else if, and then period equals 2, or you can just do if. You can just do a bunch of ifs, and I'm gonna take it easy because I'm doing it on computer. Oop. And just paste 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it might take the whole page, depending on how large you write, or how far I'm zoomed in, I should say. So English, computer science, English, computer science, what was next? PE, then history, and then what was the last one? Spanish. And that's it for this first part of the problem, class period. Okay, the next part of the problem is on the next slide. So it says, for this problem, assume like has, so again, this should probably be a code font. So like has been properly declared and initialized. You must use class period appropriately to receive full credit. So now it doesn't say. So to receive full credit, I must use class period. So I have to be using class period, a call to class period. Okay, so a Boolean like representing whether, what's the doing here? Whether one likes the class or not. So if I say class response, so that's my method, class interest or class response? Oh, it should be class interest. This is wrong. Should probably do this before I assign it to students. So it should be class interest. That's what my method is called. So, okay. So if like is true, the code segment should return a string indicating that they like this specific class. So if the class interest is true, comma 1, they say I love math because it says true. If it's false, they say generically I dislike this class. So they don't say English or anything. They just say I dislike this class. So they only say the class if the class is if it's true. So that's when I have to call class period, because I I don't have math here, I have 1. So I have to use class period, same thing here. If it's true, I have to use class period in my return concatenation. So it says, write the method class interest that returns the string, returns a string. There we go, get my parts of speech correct. I don't even know what it is. It's not a preposition. A string with a correct sentence based on like and period. Okay, so again, first things first, you write this out. So you have to handwrite it. I'm going to copy and paste it. Actually, it's after this one. It's on a new page, so I'd write probably B. I'd label it B or whatever number it is, 1B, 2B. So here's my method, and I have 2 parameters. I want to make sure I'm using 2 parameters. It should be like, let's fix my mistakes again. Okay, so like. Okay, good. So I want to say if like is true. So if like. If you notice, I don't need to say equals true. You could put equals true. So this is the same, like is true, or you could say if like is if you like it, right? So like is true or false already. So if it's true, I'll do it. So I'll write it like this. That's a more computer sciencey way. Equals true is not wrong. But then I say, okay, if it's true, I have to say this. I love whatever. Okay, so I'm going to say return the string. I love space. What? I have to concatenate it. Whatever plus a period. So don't forget this period. So how do I get this whatever right here? So then I say, okay, else I just like this class. So that's if that's false, I would say return I just like this class. And there's a couple ways to do this, but this would be it. I'm not done yet because I need this question mark to be solved. But you could say if like return whatever, else return whatever. You don't need the else though. If you're just returning stuff, remember return ends it. So everything after the if is considered the else. So if it's not liked, if the class is not liked, if like is false, I basically just skip this and I do whatever else because the return is there. So the only, you can either say like that or you can say it with an else. You cannot say else if whatever. You can't say this would be wrong. Else if like equals false, that would be wrong because the compiler doesn't know if it's going to be true or false or whatever. It doesn't know that these are opposites. It doesn't know that this is true and that one would be false. The compiler that runs when you first run it, that checks to make sure your code is good, would say error. It doesn't have a return. So it's assuming that there could be another way, and there's no return down here. So it's better to just say if and then else, if they're complete opposites. So don't need an else if. But then this, what goes right here? What goes right here? So I'm looking back at here. So I must use class period. And if I remember what I had here, class period just returns that class name. So it returns math or it returns computer science. So it just returns, it is that string. So I can treat the whole class period, this whole class period is equivalent to this math string. This whole class period 4 is equivalent to PE. This whole class period 6 is equivalent to Spanish. So instead of putting Spanish or math or whatever, I'll put the whole class period. And I have to include the number. But what's the number? I don't have 1, 2, 3, or 4. I have the parameter period right here. So I just put the parameter in that parentheses and I double check. Am I using both of these parameters? Yes, I am. So this should be it for that question. Yeah. So have a good day.